there, I'm Margie Remmers-Davis, founder and CEO of Acadian Accounting Education, and this is a clip from one of our free Class Friday sessions. Stick around to the end and I'll share with you how you can join us live, absolutely free, every week. Now let's jump in. We are talking today about expenses with both categories and items. We're talking about what is the difference between these two tables on the expense. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to load the sample company. Now, somebody said, Melanie's like, how's the sample company working today any better? I have not been in the sample company today, so I don't know. But for those of you who've been under a rock, it's not just the sample company, it's like real accounts as well. But I think the real accounts have mostly been fixed, and now it's probably just the sample company where we're getting errors all the time. I did get some intel. If those of you who've been around for a while recall that a couple months ago we flooded the feedback, and just every week for like 4 weeks, I had 100 people say, please update the sample company. Please update. Like, we need to practice the new Intuit interface, and we can't without the sample company. And I did get some intel last week that the reason that it is being delayed is because the new AI requires old data in order to work. And old data, even though in the sample company the dates are like they're backdated, they're still like they're new transactions, they're just backdated. And so the AI is breaking and not working, and that's why they are struggling. But apparently they are aware of it and they are working on it. So fingers crossed. But today's exercise, we're going to do it in the old interface, and that's okay because it hasn't changed. Once you get to it, it hasn't changed. All right. So we're going to be in the sample company today. And there's 3 ways to get to this. There's 3 different sample companies that are available. One of them is you can find inside your QBO account. So when you're logged into QuickBooks Online Accountant, you can go to the gear icon and then select sample company. If you do that, you will be logged out of, and so that's what this error is. Or we have actually created for you an easy way to get to the sample company just by going to acadian.com/QBOA. Joel will put that in the chat also if you need that. So you can go there. You can make sure to tell them that you're not a robot. Today, I'm not so sure if I'm a robot. All right. So there I am in the sample company. Okay. Now, all of the exercises that we use here, we build our Acadian exercises using a software called Scribe. And Scribe has a Google extension. The Google extension, if you're using Google Chrome, a Chrome extension, if you go to Chrome and you click this little puzzle piece, then it will take you to this right here, your extensions. Then you would go to the Chrome Web Store and you would search for and install this extension right here. It's called Scribe, AI Documentation, and SOPs. And when you have that installed, if you're using one of our exercises, then when you hover over one of these white boxes, notice there's different colors. See, this is white, this one's green, this one's supposed to be red. It looks like pink, okay? So when you hover over this white box, you see this little Star Trek badge, and when you click that, if you have that Google Chrome extension and you have the sample company open, then both of them will appear on the screen at the same time, So anyway, so yeah. So when you do that, it will automatically assume that you want this guide me mode on. Guide me shows you one step at a time, and you have to click this next button. I prefer to have that off, so I like to click it. I'm going to close this, and that way I just scroll through the exercise. So you can do it either way, but anyway, so that's how you could do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the exercise. I'm going to go up to the top and read our scenario. Craig purchased some plants and soil from Hicks Hardware for a project he is working on. Record it in QBO. Okay, so we started in the sample company. This box is white, but it doesn't have the little Star Trek badge. I don't know why. It's always the first step. Anyway, all right, so now we've loaded the sample company. Now we're going to create the expense. As a reminder, Craig purchased 10 plants at $12 per plant and 5 bags of soil. Okay, so we're going to click plus new. Now, if you're in the new interface, which I don't have up to show you today, but if you're in the new interface, it doesn't say plus new. It just says there's a little plus button, and it says the word create underneath. Back in the day, back in the day, they used to call this the quick create button, okay? And then they changed it to the plus add new button, and now they're going back to the quick create, okay? So it all comes full circle, okay? So that's the same, and you just select expense, and then once you're in here, it looks identical. Really, the only difference with the new interface is what that first page looks like and how you get to things. But once you get to the thing, it works the same, okay? So I'm going to close this right now, this little AI helper. This allows you to, like for example, if I had, you remember the difference between a bill and an expense, okay? An expense is something that you paid for at the time of purchase, okay? So you went to Home Depot, you bought some lumber, and you paid for it right then. That is recorded using an expense. What's different is a bill. If you have your electric company sends you a bill that you have 30 days to pay, right? That's not payment at the time of the sale. That's payment and receiving the bill at 2 separate times, okay? So for this one, this is an expense, and say I went to Home Depot and I have my receipt. I could just take a picture of it, send it in, and I could autofill this from that receipt, okay? But that's not what we're gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna close this. That is, by the way, and we talk about that in Fast Track, it is the correct procedure to buy a thing, record it as an expense, and then when that money hits the bank feed, which is that same day or later, or the next day usually, then to match them up. That's the correct workflow. But most people, just in the interest of time, don't do that. Most people just create the expense from the bank feed record. Not as correct, but that's what most people do. Okay. All right, so here I am in the expense. So we hit plus new, okay, we clicked expense, okay, so he purchased this from Hicks Hardware. So I'm gonna say Hicks Hardware, it's right there. We're gonna assume that he paid from the checking. The exercise doesn't say that, but we're gonna say that, okay. Now we have a choice. We have, so we know that he purchased these things. What did he purchase? He purchased 10 plants and 5 bags of soil, okay? Now, when you're entering an expense, you have to choose between this table. Should I enter it in the category details, or should I enter it in the item details? Now, sometimes the items details isn't even available. Like there's no choice there. It's just category is the only way. Now there's two reasons. This is where I go beyond the exercise, by the way. There's two reasons why the item details would not appear on the expense. Actually, I'm going to test you guys. Who knows what those two would be? Those two options. Why would item details not appear on some people's expenses? Products and services are not set up. No, I think it would still be there. Alex! Oh my gosh, Alex. I didn't know you were still coming to these live streams. Let's see. They have no inventory. They have no inventory to track. Okay. Go deeper with me a little bit about no inventory. Like it doesn't mean that they don't have the actual inventory items. There is, let's see. Items are not set up to purchase from a vendor. All of these things are true, but they don't prevent this table from showing up on the expense. Anybody, any other guesses? All right. I'm gonna give it away. Number one is the QBO subscription level. So the QBO, very good, very good. So inventory is only available in QBO Plus and higher. Okay, and so they could have, if they had Simple Start, for example, the subscription level, then that it wouldn't be on there. And then the other thing, and we're getting it, Sarah, Roshi, there we go. Is that Hoffman? Is that short for Hoffman? I don't know. So yeah, so there's a setting in accountant settings. I'm going to go ahead and exit so you can see it. I'll come back and do this exercise. So under the gear icon, if I go to accountant settings, I think it's expenses. I can't remember. Here it is. Yeah. Bills and expenses. Show items table on expense and purchase forms. Okay. So this has to be on. It's on by default in the sample company. So this has to be on, and they have to have at least QBO Plus subscription level. Okay. So they could have subscription level, but this isn't on, or they could not have subscription level and then they don't even have this setting. Okay. So that is just a little bit extra so you guys know. The sometimes like the sample company is set up and we forget that, oh yeah, not everybody has that. Okay. Alrighty. So that was the category details. Okay. So now, since we know that you have to have QBO Plus and you have to have it turned on, we've kind of given away what the items table is for. The items table is for inventory items, or it's for products. Now, can you set this up for non-inventory items? I guess not. I thought you could. Let's experiment here for a moment. I thought that the items grid was not just for inventory products, but also for non-inventory. Let's see. Non-inventory. Let's see. What should we call this? Sample. I feel like I want to say attic head bump. So, because that's all that's on my mind right now. All right. So if I say I purchased this from a vendor, will this show up? Save and close. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so it's not just inventory products. It can also be non-inventory products. The important thing is, do you need to track how much you buy of this thing? Okay. So with inventory, okay, with inventory, QBO is tracking the number of items that you have and the total value of those items. Okay, so you purchased 10 t-shirts for $10 each, so it knows that you have 10 t-shirts and it says the value of those is $100. I think talking about inventory is actually in level 2, but this is important. What you need to know for level 1 exam is that this right here pulls from the product and service table, but it's only going to pull, let me see. Look at that, my sample isn't there. Guys, I need to go to bed. Oh my gosh, I need to go to bed. All right, that's it. That's interesting that it's showing that, but it's not showing it if, curious. Well, anyway, the point is that this pulls from the products and services list. These are the inventory products. It looks like we can't have non-inventory products, and I'm going crazy. But anyway, all right. So let's go back. Let's go back to the exercise, shall we? So, all right. So the difference between here, products and services, is it pulls from the products and services list. This one pulls from the chart of accounts. Okay. So this is pulling from the chart of accounts. This one that's here is just the last time I bought something from, and that's also a setting in accountants and settings, by the way, is if you want your last thing to show up, you can say yes if you do things frequently, or you can say no, and then it's fresh every time. Okay, so in this one, plants and soil is not a thing that he's tracking. Oh, look, there's 2 different plants and soil. Which one does it say to use? Subaccount of job materials, subaccount of job materials. I don't know what that's about right now. Lately, I often have to start typing a thing I've recently added, and then it shows up for me. All right, let's see. Sample. There it is. Jennifer for the win. So it's not just my head bump that's the problem. All right, thank you, Jennifer. All right, so what did I do? Job materials, and in the description we're going to type plants. And then in the amount, we're going to show you how QBO can do math for you. We're going to type 10 times 12. We bought 10 of them, and they were $12 a piece. That's what we said earlier in the exercise. Okay, so now in the products and services table, we're going to have soil, which remember from the exercise is 5. So we're going to change the quantity to 5. Okay. All right, now the exercise says, oh, sorry, I closed that. The exercise says to hit save and close, but we're going to actually check, we're going to check the transaction journal because I want to show you, there's something else I wanted to show you real quick. Okay, so I click save, and now I'm going to click more, and then transaction journal, and let's see what it says. Those of you who are brand new, if you're just going through QBO, you don't know about you don't know about debits and credits yet, you haven't gone through Fast Track, don't worry, this might be a little bit over your head. I always like to say that you might not, what is it I always say, guys? You might not soak up everything, but at least you'll get wet, okay? So, right here, it says, this is our transaction journal, okay? So, we spent $152.50. So, checking is an asset account. Asset accounts decrease on the right. So, they live on the left, which means they decrease on the right. That's why it says that, okay? So, now we have 32, look at this. Let me make this bigger. Why does it say, they both say job materials, plants, and soil, but I only selected job materials, plants, and soil in the category grid. I didn't select that in the items grid. For the soil, I didn't do, that's not what I did. Let's go back. This one. Nope. Oh man, I want to go back to the expense I was just on. Let's go back and look at our, okay. So I put in job expenses, job materials, plants, and soil for $120. And this one, it doesn't say job expenses, job materials. It says landscaping, soil. So why is it when I look at, this is a real question, guys. Like this is not my head brain. This is not my head injury. This is, I'm asking you, I want to make sure you know why this is. So why is it? This is me, the teacher testing you. This is not Margie's head bump, not knowing what's happening. Okay, just wanted to make that clear. Why do they both say plants and soil, and yet only one of them did I actually select plants and soil? I'll wait. I'll play my Jeopardy music. I'm sure that that is copyrighted. So, let's see. I will wait. I know you guys know. We've got some smart cookies. We've got some smart cookies. Yay! Ooey, ooey for the win. Yes. Very good. We talked about this last week. This is what we did last week. Oh, here. Is this right? No. Oh, I gotta go back to that dang. It bugs me that when you go to the transaction journal, you can't just. What happened to my? You can't just go back. Can't just close it and go back because it thinks you're in a report. This is what we covered last week with income when we did a sales receipt, and somebody in the chat asked about, well, what happens if it's something you buy? What happens if it's an expense? Well, it's the exact same thing. So when we did last week, we did the sales receipt and we bought something. And we didn't buy something. We sold something last week with the sales receipt, and we selected a product and service. And remember, we learned, I guess we just learned the product and services table, and we learned that income account that is set up that's associated with that product and service, okay? So the same is true with this product and service. There is an expense account associated with this thing. So let's go back. this time I'm going to exit out. We're done with the exercise. I just want to go back and we're going to go to the products and services list. And we're going to find the soil. Here is what we looked at. I should put it on the thing because that's what you have to know for the test. Okay, so right here under purchasing information, that's the expense account. That's how it knows when you buy a thing what account to credit it for. That's how it knows because it's embedded in there. And I could also, we did this last week too because this is on the test. You have to know this is not that one, this one. I can put my income and expense report right on the table. So instead of going into it and looking at it, I could have just, oh, come on. There we go. I could just put it in the table right there, and then I could see that soil. I could see exactly what account that was too. All right, good job. Good job, everybody. All right. Uyi says, could you please talk about using the description and the memo fields? I'd be happy to learn about best practices. Oh, yeah. That's actually a really good question. I should create an exercise. Lindsay, maybe make a note that we should create an exercise talking about the difference between the memo and description, because that's another thing that gets people confused. And it took me a long time to figure it out. And it is not obvious. It's not obvious. Let me just go quick. Were you here in the beginning, Uyi, when you heard about my injury? Like, I have a brain problem, today, so bear with me. But just briefly, I will talk about the difference between the description and the memo, okay? The description here is related to this line item, okay? The memo is for the entire transaction. So, for example, I am, this month, I'm doing a lot of traveling. And I might go to, I can't remember now what the example I was going to use. My point is that I might buy several things for several different purposes, all on the same trip, okay? So I might have one, I now can't think of the example I was going to use, but you would use the description to describe like this particular thing, why you bought this particular thing, and then you would use the memo. Maybe I could say in the memo, whatever, such and such a trip, like this transaction, such and such a trip. Okay. So it's more the memo is for a comment about the entire transaction. The description is for a comment about just that particular line item. Now, you can have the description come in automatically, like as a default from the product and services list, or you can type it in yourself. It just depends on the business, what it is. Like there's so many what's it called? So many different iterations. That's not the word I was trying to find, but anyway, yeah, there's so many different iterations of reasons why you would want one or the other. And we'll come up with, we'll do an exercise and we'll come up with some situations where you would use one or the other. There is also, actually, Lindsay, we should put this in the exercise too, is if it is if it's a money in transaction, let's do an invoice. I don't know if it's on the sales receipt. There is, oh, it's got confusing. There's a bunch of ones, okay? So we have, for the invoice, we have note to customer. This is what they actually see, okay? There's an internal customer note that's like about the customer. And then this is a memo on the statement, okay? So this memo will show up on your invoice, or not show up on the invoice, but will appear on the statement, okay? So, so with the money in, there's more options. And Lindsay, in that exercise, we should do all of these different iterations so that they can see like where they show up. That would be excellent. Great idea, Uyi. This class comes from our free Facebook group, the QBO Gym Locker Room. Inside, you'll get access to a free QBO QuickStart course, over 100 hands-on exercises, weekly marketing tips, monthly drawings, and more. The link is below. Join us today. We'd love to see you there.